This is the last time that we're doing this. Hey everyone, grab your cup of coffee, or in my case for this moment, I have vanilla chai with some sweet and creamy in it, and this is the last time I'm going to be holding this mug up and talking about what my students are doing for their 12th grade year. This fall will be our 16th year of homeschooling, and my youngest two are graduating. The youngest one skipped kindergarten, 6th grade, and 8th grade, or kindergarten, 6th grade, and 9th grade, will be graduating 2 months after her 16th birthday. And my other one is a dyslexic student who is an incredibly talented artist. So you kind of get to see this perspective of both and how we custom do the classes for each of them. Today is going to be more of what their 12th grade year looks like. And then through the next couple of weeks, maybe every other week, because also, as you guys know, as our kids are aging out, we had already planned in 2026. We planned way before the cruise even came available, that 2026 was our year to do some major home renovations that we wanted to do. So those home renovations have my schedule kind of limited on when I can, do talking videos. So it might end up being every other week until we finish homeschooling of our homeschool content, but you'll also start seeing more like date nights with just Matt and me as we start emptying that pre-empty nest age and working on our home. And we have some exciting plans for when the girls graduate and have either chose college or career and move on. So really exciting, but also like I'm having a hard, this is my third attempt trying to film this video, because like it's also bittersweet. Like it's the last time I'm going to stand in front of you guys with the mug and say we're going to talk about the calendar. But let's just go over the calendar today. And again, over the next several months, we'll talk about specifically how I'm customizing courses for them for an artistic dyslexic and a left-handed artistic dyslexic and an advanced placement early graduate. I have all of it right here. So kind of the upside of this being my last year is our umbrella school has decided that where before they required senior classes to be put in January, now they also require it, but also you can't put the classes in until you pay for your senior year. And since like they just kind of dropped that bombshell on us a couple of weeks after Christmas, that wasn't going to happen right now. So I wrote everything down, and then whenever we planned to do our payment for the senior year in next month, then we'll get to plug all of it in. But I already know they'll pre-approve all this because lather, rinse, repeat. We've been through this before. Thank you, Lord, for chai tea. So I will be looking down a little bit as I read. I have this broken down for each of the students. So let me go that way and let me do each of the students, and then I'll talk about which ones they are doing together. So to begin with, since the list I was basing it off of was their older sister's list, because they had all their required courses for senior year when they graduated, most of it is in alphabetical order up to a point. So they'll be in alphabetical order, then it won't be. Sorry about that. I wasn't going to like hand rewrite everything to make it work. So we'll talk about the youngest one first, the current 15-year-old who's graduating at 16, and go through her class list. And then we'll go through that one was over here. And then we'll go through my dyslexic hands-on artistic student. And when I say artistic, I wish I could show you guys some of her art, but we're afraid of it getting pirated. She's an amazing talented artist. But we'll get to her in a minute. Let's start with the youngest one over here. So her first class listed on here is Honors Economics. Economics in the state of Tennessee, I think also in the United States, you're required to take both government and economics. Alphabetically, economics came first. So economics is one of her honors classes because all of her history classes are honors. Again, I will get into how we're doing it. I'm doing it a little bit different this time than I did with my older two, but she will be taking economics in the spring. I do let them pick the rotation of which one they want to do, whether they wanted to do government and economics in the fall or spring. The other two we didn't, and we talked about that a little bit in another video, so you can see why. But whenever they do, this time we had the option, so they picked, and they wanted to do economics in the spring from January to April, because their finish date, they will actually complete 90 days by April, the end of April, which I always try to get my graduates done a little bit sooner as kind of like a thing for them. The next class listed on here is Honors Literature. Now on here it's listed as English. We call it literature course. It is a literature composition and handwriting class for high school students, and we just put it on there as literature. It is listed as English. I'm really excited about this one, and just a little bit of a spoiler, she's getting to do something really cool for literature this year, but we're going to talk about that in another video. We do have videos on our homeschool playlist about what we use for literature course. Again, trying to just get through just the classes. The next one on here is she will be taking physics with labs. That is also an honors course. Physics with labs, it's not as intense as you think it would be. There's actually way more reading and research than like hardcore having to have the full lab setup, which we actually do, but that was just because we like science, and I was half raised by a microbiologist and a biologist in the same house. Lots of fun fights there. Kidding, like argument fights, not, you know what I mean. Anyways, but microbiologist and biologist in this house, and military and Southern cook in this house. It was really interesting childhood. Grew up with the science mindset and all that. So like whenever they started doing labs in middle school, we bought the lab kit. So she does have labs that she can do with it. The next class on here is statistics. As a Tennessee senior, you get to choose between 2 math classes. Pre-calculus, if you're going on to do like medicine, engineering, law, like the big graduate school, extensive extra schooling jobs like that, pre-calculus. If you're not, or if you're going into more blue collar jobs, statistics. I think statistics is better for more real world math. Many more people agree with me, and technically because she is a honor student, she could have taken trigonometry, but she would have had to have taken calculus, not pre-calculus, calculus last year, because she did take Algebra 1 as her 8th grade math. But since she's only doing 3 years of high school, we didn't really have time to do geometry, Algebra 2, calculus, trigonometry. So we just stuck with the Algebra 1, Geometry, Algebra 2, statistics instead. The next one on here is, under alphabetically, is U.S. government. Again, you have to take 1 semester of U.S. government, 1 semester of economics. And since all of her other history classes are honors, it is honors as well. So the only honors course so far on here, and those are all of the core classes in Tennessee for seniors. That's all you need. And technically, by your senior year, you should already have your 6 elective credits. If not, we're fixing to get to that. But the only non-honors class that she's, of the core classes, is math. The rest of them are honors. So now we're going to go on to her electives classes. And for her last year of high school, she wants to do painting art. We found a really cool painting art program. We'll talk about that again in another video. But we found a really cool painting art program that she can take online, and we have like all the art supplies ready for her, and are going to buy her some additional supplies as well. But she really wants to get into painting. So when you go to sign up for classes through the umbrella school that we have, you actually have a drop down menu, and you actually have to specifically pick what elective class. And I also have other videos about how to do like groups of elective classes based on what your child wants to do post high school. If you're interested in that, let me know in the comments below, and I can link specific videos if you're interested. There's one on just textile arts, there's one on just graphic design, there's one on how to give your kids high school credit for babysitting. Lots of those videos are on there. But yeah, we did also cover art. So specifically the class she's taking is art painting. It will be a painting focused class. And then lastly, for my honor student, she is going to be taking German 2. So for her 10th grade year, for the fall and spring, she did French 1. Her summer course, she did French 2. This year that she's currently on right now, she's in German 1, and then next year she's taking German 2 because she couldn't make up her mind, decided she wanted to take both. So she took both, and that's allowed. So it works. She'll graduate with 2 foreign languages and 2 credits in each. Be really cool. So that is all of her classes. Now I'm going to talk about my dyslexic artistic one, and dyslexia doesn't define her. I think she's more defined by her artistic one. I mentioned dyslexia only for the purpose of homeschool videos because it lets people know that like we do help talk to people and encourage and counsel people with both of like what it's like to raise like just, standard child, kids with special need, or kids with learning disabilities, and which dyslexia, she's learned to overcome that, but and also kids with advanced placement. That way, like, you understand the difference in the two. Her dyslexia does not define her. I just, for purposes of homeschooling videos, I don't want somebody to watch the video and be like, yeah, well, it doesn't apply to me because my kid's dyslexic. Yeah, well, that's why we're doing this. Or my kid's at AP, that's what this is for. My kid is standard. Don't really know as much about that one, but we'll try. I think you guys know what I mean. So talking about my current 16-year-old, going to be 17 next school year, her first class also is economics. So that one she is taking with her sister. And again, that's going to be in the spring. And again, we are going to do it differently. I want to write all of it out, because if I stood here and talked about every single class they're taking, what we're taking, this video would be an hour long. The next class on here is her literature course. So she's doing the same literature course, but she's not. They couldn't agree on what they wanted to do for literature. And for the first time since they've both been in high school, she's going to be taking one, and then she's going to be taking another one. And it's going to be very interesting to balance the two. But we kind of are already used to that, because we had two older that just graduated last May. So like, we kind of had to learn to balance that with them. So we'll see how it goes with like schedule and ministry life and all those going on. But currently that's the plan, and I'm really looking forward to it, and kind of looking into like personalizing for each of them. And also I can get more into, since hers is separate, more into how she does it more for dyslexic, for just her, for literature, which I think the way we've done it has helped her way better with her dyslexia doing literature, and has encouraged her more to do some other things that I can't talk about on camera, because there's some things she wants to talk about possibly in her own YouTube channel later. So the next class on here again is a shared class. It's physics with labs. They both will share physics with labs. The difference is the honors one does more work, whereas the other one I'll get into later. I'll split the video in two and talk about what this one does for physics versus what this one does for physics AP, but it's the same curriculum, and how you can take the same curriculum and put those two together. Again, for math, she's doing statistics. Again, I just think statistics is designed more for real world math than pre-calculus, if you're not going on to those higher education of medicine, law, or engineering. And I've had people that work in engineering tell me the exact same thing. The next class on here, again, is the shared one. They're going to do government this fall. They're both doing the same government class. Again, I'll talk about later how they're doing the same class, but she's going to have it at this. She's going to have this, and then she's going to have the little bit of extra work that she'll have to do for the honors portion, which she kind of needs it to stimulate her brain. And then that's end of where they share, which the literature class they're not sharing. But that's it for my currently 16, will be 17-year-old next year. The last two classes are electives. She already has all the electives she needs, but she also has already had 3 years of high school, whereas the other one didn't, although I still think she is finished with her electives. But she's already finished. She's taking these two for fun. She doesn't have to take these two classes. She wants to. And the two classes are Japanese 4. She's already taken 3 years of Japanese. She's really invested into it. She loves doing it. With her desire to do like art, maybe possibly as a job or even as a passion, Japanese just made sense. And then her last class is art drawing. This one I'm worried about getting into the paperwork, because sometimes when you're dealing with the umbrella school, if it's a repeated class, they're like, no, they can't repeat that. But I'm thinking of just playing around, talking to a counselor, and trying to get it approved anyways and force it through, because 1, she doesn't have to have the class. She's taking it for fun. 2, she's not watching the exact same videos over and over again for an actual art professor in Canada. She's going to be watching his next step up. He's got the videos that she's on now of like, this is where we're starting, but then he has videos on, okay, here's the next step. So that's what we're going to be doing. And I think once I get all that plugged in and I just tell them like, it's not the same thing. Hopefully we'll get it all approved. But that's it for today's video. That is it for the last time that I'm filming a what classes my kids are taking for this upcoming school year. I am looking forward to talking about and breaking down these school videos over the next couple of months. Like I said, it'll probably be every other week with the home renovations going on right now and ministry life. And like ministry life stuff, like we'll probably be busy every month, twice a month, multiple times a week. So it's just, life is busy. So we've just got a lot going on. So like it might be every other week. And also, like, again, the goal was to kind of slowly fade out. And then at the end of the year, we'll be announcing a new channel name, because we will no longer be making homeschool videos because our kids are graduating. And our last homeschooling video will be them graduating. But I hope you guys stay along for this journey of this last year with us, and also stick around afterwards if you're interested in the empty nest life content that we're going to be creating, and talking about how Matt and I prioritize marriage with ministry life, with having all adult kids, and just that transition point in our life. I mean, we'll both be 40 this year, and our kids are graduating. So like by 42, all of our kids will be adults. So it'll be kind of interesting for us to like be in that empty nest stage, but like be younger than some empty nesters. So we kind of want to share that journey of like how we deal with all those changes and things, and what my plans are post homeschooling. But that's it for today's video. Jesus loves you. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.